Welcome to the show, Respectfully the podcast. I got my boy on the show, him downstairs. This is a childhood friend of mine from the Miller Park. When y'all hear me talk about Miller Park, this is one of those guys. We started on junior high bonded. I knew him since a child, man. We got a long history together. This is my guy. He's the neighborhood comedian. Recently started his own podcast called Cut the Cap. My boy DL is in the building. Welcome to the show, bro.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. How you doing, man? How's Lincoln, man? I ain't never really, I was back and forth to Lincoln as a kid, but living there as an adult, how is Lincoln? How is it being in Lincoln, man?
Man, boring, and that's what I
He
like.
said, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like peace now. I don't want to tired of pulling up the bills and Elko and seeing who I got to get it through with. Pull up,
Right, right.
I'm look at my rear view with them.
Man, come on, man. That's what's up. So do they got so Lincoln, do they have like a grown and sexy vibes out there, lounges, cigar lounges or anything? Yeah?
They do it's heavy. It's out of town. And
Yeah, yeah.
matter of fact, they out of the West, which is a Georgia. So
Okay.
you got there's a few colleges up here. They got a few like Christian Catholic type colleges, and of course Lincoln College. So it's not really a thing, but you can catch
Yeah.
people at certain spots. They won't be what I'm saying, popping like the other. Yeah, they got them, but I don't even beat them. And I'm
You,
looking at them guys
you
now.
ever go to any of the Nebraska games?
Absolutely, I go to at least 2 or 3 every year. Every
Okay.
year, that's something. That's
That's
something I
what's
do.
up. I never been to one.
It's
I
like
never been to one, bro.
prefer not to go. I'd rather watch the football game on TV just because it be sold out. And I'm a big guy, you know what I'm saying? Being shoulder to shoulder with somebody, man, either you gonna be able to sit back or you gonna have to sit forward. And that's just what it is. So you
Right,
go
right.
watch the football game on TV. It's still good.
Yeah. That's what's up, man. Hey man, so I want to get into it, man. I'm interested to know. I know you did a bid, came home, went back, and now you back out, changed, man. You own your stuff, you got your podcast. Your podcast is called Cut the Cap.
Yeah,
Share with the viewers why you named your podcast Cut the Cap and what's your goal with your podcast and what made you birth the podcast.
man, I want to use cut the cap, man, because a lot of them, especially as a child, we a lot of the things we do is cap. We not really who we trying to be. We're who we trying to be to impress somebody. And
Yeah.
one thing I learned while I was locked up is that I was brainwashed into thinking that everything bad I did was good, and everything I did good. If I get straight A's, I'm not really getting. You know what I'm saying? I'm not getting praised for that. When I pick that back
Mm,
up, you know what I'm saying, get to doing some stuff like that, man. And we just
right.
cut that cap. That's the
Cut
type
the
of cat
cap.
we need to stop looking at social media and trying to be what we see because that stuff is cat. Let's cut.
Mm,
Let's keep it real with ourselves.
right.
We've been told by the government to live a certain way. They telling women that hey, you don't need a man, you're independent. Oh, let's cut the
Yeah.
cap. So it's
I
cat.
love
We
that.
need
I
each
love
other.
that.
We need each other. I believe
100%.
absolutely.
Man, that's what's up. Yeah, man. I salute that, man. Viewers, make sure y'all go check my boy out on YouTube, on his Instagram, TikTok, Cut the Cat. Well, where can they find you at, man? Share
Man,
your
you can definitely find
social
me on
handle.
TikTok under him downstairs or Gabzilla, Gabzilla. You catch me on Instagram at DLG4040. And I'm also him downstairs on Facebook. Like, yeah, come check me out, man. I do reels. I'm just living a good life. Just give you a kind of insight on my life, man. And ain't nothing
Yeah,
capital about what I'm doing, man. I'm just having fun, having a good time. Uh,
right.
I'm finally comfortable with being who I am as an adult, and I don't got to prove nothing to anybody. So anything that you see If you see my reels or you see anything that I'm doing out there, if you think that I'm somebody, that's because you thought that. What you see is who I really am. So anything else that
Man,
you come up with, man, that's because you came. So I'm
I
just
love
being authentic.
Yeah, let me segue into that, man. I love that because I see you doing your reels. You got on your work clothes with the vest on, with your hat, her hard hat, whatever. And I think that's important to show the youth and to show people that the working man still is getting ahead. These days, social media is betraying that you got to be an entrepreneur. It's
Yeah,
not cool to work,
yeah,
et cetera, et cetera. So, working man versus the street guy. Talk to the people, share with the viewers. Like you say, you're comfortable where you at now as a man. Give
right.
me some of those benefits of being a 9 or 5er versus when you were in the streets. Compare and contrast, and share that with the viewers.
I think what I make at a job is going to be more than what the average drug dealer makes a week.
Mm,
And what comes with that is that I know every week I'm about to get this certain amount of money, and it don't come
yeah.
with any dangers. Maybe a danger from the job, not wearing the hard hat or safety glasses, but yeah,
Yeah.
I ain't worried about getting robbed, jacked, getting caught up by the
Right.
police or none of that. I think, and as men, I was growing up, we listened to rap music, and it has a big influence on us. And
Yeah.
and even more so for the women. Like when we was growing up, man, it was certain. We had a few nasty women out there that spoke on some stuff, but now it's like that's all they do. And I think what we see and what people put in our face, people think young people think that's who they gotta be in order to be somebody. And I
Right.
would show people that work at a job, man, is more benefits than not. Like even if
Mm,
you got your own business, you still gotta have, right?
fact.
You got your own business, your customers is really your boss, especially if you want to stay in business. So sitting up
Hmm.
here trying to be Rick Ross or Jeezy, man, like it's another aspect to that they ain't showing you because it's obvious that they didn't reach that other aspect of life that they reached the aspect of life of being famous and successful from doing what they did. But it's more people who wasn't that's in there. Y'all don't get to see their stories, so y'all think that
Right. Right.
I used to think that it's, it's not where it's at.
100%, man. I hear you talk about a lot about women thinking that they, should be independent. That's not right. How society has painted these false narratives, right? So when you think about survival mode, coming in the ghetto, a lot of us are in survival mode, right? Especially a lot of the single moms, the,
Yeah,
the the young men growing up without a father, and just learning ways of the street. So we just doing what we have to do to survive. How does one make it out of survival mode from your perspective? And what does that look like?
well, first they gotta cut the see. You gotta. For, before you can do any of that, you gotta be honest with yourself. You
Yes,
gotta be
sir.
honest with yourself. We're not put on this earth to be independent. Well, what I'm trying to do is what you're trying to do. And I see you doing that, so I couldn't be independent. I need help. That's where you came
That's
in. You gave me help.
humility.
You know what I'm saying? A
Yes,
woman
sir.
with kids, like you can't say that you're independent and you're on Section 8 and welfare.
Come
You know,
on,
and
man.
that
Come on.
it doesn't work like
Cut the cap.
that. And
Cut
they
the
let
cap.
yeah, at the cap. You know what I'm saying? They're putting it in our people's head that we don't need each other. We see that on
Yeah.
social media all the time where women get to talk crazy about a man because they didn't take them somewhere out to eat or they didn't pay for their friends and stuff. Man, that's cat. So for
Right.
you, got you thinking that that's not real life.
Yeah.
Like
How do they break that survival mode? How do we get people to break that vicious cycle?
you just got to be honest with yourself. Meditate, pray. Uh, but in order to do that, you got to see. life for what it is. They're
Yeah.
looking at life through somebody else's lenses, and they're trying to mimic
Right.
what they're doing. So if you want to get out of survival mode, you got to let go of social media. You got a man in the house, and it goes for both of us. Like we got to be respectful to each other because we need each other. We need to work it
Yeah.
out. We need to be there for the little boys and that little girl. But what's attractive to women is men that's out here in these streets. And then it's cool, it's nice, you got the cred and all that stuff. But when he's gone now, look at your son. He doing what you was just doing. And then you get up in there
Right. Right.
doing a big number or something, and now you're like, dang, I wish I was out there to teach my son not to do this. So you got to be
Yeah.
honest with ourselves first
Mm.
before anything. And I you got to pray on it. You got to meditate. You just got to be honest with yourself. That's the only way we're gonna break the cycle. The
I
only way.
love that answer, man. I love the answer, being honest with yourself. And I want to say the survival mode is deep. It's a deep cycle to break because so many of us have been programmed to do this for years, and this is how we get by. This is how women pay their bills through Section 8, through
Yeah,
food stamps, through the government. So breaking the cycle is going to get uncomfortable, right? And the
yeah,
only way you grow, you got to get comfortable being uncomfortable. If it's to
absolutely.
pull back and if it's to pull back and say, okay, I want better, I want something different. To your point, bro, first you got to be honest with yourself, right? Remove the pride because a lot of women are proud like they don't need a man. And a lot of men just want to still be in the streets to get this
Yeah,
persona, to look a certain
absolutely.
way, and etc. So it starts in the mind. And so to break the cycle, first you gotta, like you say, be honest with yourself, renew your way of thinking, and say, I want better from myself. Because when you're in that survival mode, it makes us do things that's causing self-harm. You
Yeah,
taking risks. You doing this, you doing that. To your point, when you work a 9 to 5 and you don't gotta look over your shoulder, you might be check to check, and I'm not saying you, I'm just saying in general to a person
absolutely.
who's only making enough to pay their bills. But guess what? Survival mode is here.
Yeah,
Meaning, if you mentally trapped and you warped, you living in a survival mode type of day-to-day crisis. But if you renew your mind and accept what God is already, be a good steward of what God has already got in front of you and start there and just become better at that, whether you growing in your job to get promoted or whether you starting a side business to help fund your bills and things
yeah,
like that, so you don't have to take those penitentiary chances, whatever that may look like, or doing things that are degrading for women and men, right? And so you gotta to in order to break that curse, you got to first, like bro said, be real with yourself. You gotta want better, and you gotta pray about it, ask God to help renew you,
wow.
and start to do things. Then you gotta put the work in, because prayer without works
Put the
isn't
work
good.
in. That is so crazy.
You got to
So
put the
I think,
work in.
I think survival mode is just in our DNA. You can go all the way back to the slaves. Like they were just trying to
Yeah,
live. We didn't
it's a
want
curse. Yeah,
but now we're in survival mode. So that travels down from our ancestors in our blood. So when we come out, we're always in survival mode. Once you start getting older, you realize that you're bored, and when you like in between an infant and a fifth grader, you don't know that you're bored until you got to get in seventh grade, eighth grade, and you realize that hey, we've been in survival for time. So I think it's just like PTSD from our ancestors in our way of living and just
yeah.
we just wanted to live. So
But
survival
those are
mode is what
generational. Those are, to your
we
point, those are generational curses.
absolutely.
Because as long as you operate, and don't get me wrong, when I say survival mode, I'm not. Yeah, we all here to survive, and we're here to thrive, though. According to God's word, He want to make you abundance. We're here to get abundance and gain and grow. When you trapped in survival mode, you in a rat race, and I'm particularly speaking to like a lot of women that's getting assistance or men that's just still in the streets and doing
Yeah,
something. I gotta do this. You came in selling, you came in young, think you feel like you had, it's always a choice, right?
yeah,
But
so,
we feel like we had to do it because my single mom was starving. I had to take some off. I had to remove some of that pressure off her. I
yeah,
get it, that was me. But when you get older and you realize that that's all the trick of the enemy.
yeah,
Anytime you tell yourself you got to go do something illegal or something that's self hurt to get better, that's not, it don't really, when you think about it, it's really not, it don't make sense, but that's the
Yeah,
trick of the enemy. And we
yeah,
call it survival mode and all that.
that's the most extreme form. Because like
Yeah.
when you out here and you live, see how the economy is, you're always thinking about money. It's
Yeah. Yeah.
things sitting there and put it in our hands just to keep working, 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 working. And while we're
Right.
working, we're all thinking overtime to get this bag,
Yeah.
to get this bag. But we're not understanding that we are neglecting the people at
That
home that
part.
need us.
That part. There
Kids
we
need us,
go.
you know what I'm saying? We thinking about this money, we thinking about this money,
Yeah.
and they put that in our head, and that's another form of survival. So even
Yep.
if
Yep.
you're one of the parents that's working every day, all day, and doing an overtime,
Yep.
that's another form of survival. Versus the guy
Yep.
who's trying to sell anything to get this bird, this key, and to do your best
Yep.
impression of snowfall. Another form of survival mode. So that's why us as people we need each other. This is when the need each
Hmm.
other comes. You won't be in survival mode if we as people can work together. And it takes
That's
two.
good, bro.
It takes
Yep.
two. No, it don't take just one person. We both need to be on the same page and we can survive together. It won't be hard once you realize.
Right. And that's where I was going with it. That trick of the enemy, and it starts in the mind. Because to a person that is in survival mode, and they think that, and they may have to work overtime excessively to pay their bills. But to your point, if you humble yourself and get you a man, you know what I'm saying,
Or a
and not
woman.
be so proud, y'all doing, or a woman, y'all doing it together, and now it
Yeah.
removes that. But when you are in that survival mode, somebody's being overlooked and being neglected where it really
Mhm.
matters. And so that was a good point, bro. That's exactly where I was trying to go with it.
Yeah.
So how did you reinvent yourself, and or how can other people, well, yeah, just your testimony. You came home after doing a bid, went back and came home the second time to say, all right, I ain't going back a third time, right? How
Yeah.
did you reinvent yourself for somebody that's watching, that's just come home or that's just trying to reinvent themselves? What
Um,
steps did you take?
so like we said before, it starts in the mind. So you see where you at. You got to accept what you did. You got to understand what you did, and you got to be able to take accountability for what you did. So once you start there, reinventing yourself comes easy. You learn more, you watch more, you think more, and like you get up out of a certain mind frame, and then now, and it's always been in us because as from me to you, man, we was followed. We all followed. We followed these because this is what was cool. This is what everybody wanted to be. But deep down inside, this is who you were. This is who I was.
Yeah.
And I was ashamed to be this person because this person wasn't cool. So, what I'm
All
saying? Once
right,
I was
right.
able to learn and accept myself for who I really am, it wasn't nothing to it. Everything else just came. And, I felt good
Right.
about myself to where I didn't have to pretend to be somebody else. So once you get
That's
that in
good.
your head, man, you get out here and you realize you got great ideas. You actually got skills. Your skills was smothered and suffocated under trying to be somebody else, trying to be who somebody else wanted you to be. But once you start being
Right.
yourself, man, the doors get to opening up and you realize that you're smarter than what people would give you credit.
Yeah, yeah, that's good. And I want to say, let me know, y'all drop some, get in the group chat and share in the comments if this is helping somebody. Give us some feedback on how to reinvent yourself, some of the things y'all did to reinvent yourselves. And one of the things that really helped me when I was in corporate and I was trying to figure things out, trying to get ahead. And I love to share this because this guy told it to me and it just clicked. He said, sometimes you got to take two steps back to get ahead.
Yeah,
And what that meant, I was trying to go so hard that
yeah,
I was clouded. I was clouded going all these different directions. And I just had to step back, for a
yeah,
minute, breathe, and
yeah,
come up with a simple strategy. And
Right.
then you got to work it. You know what I mean? Like the
That's
word of
what
God say, write it. I'm a firm believer in writing things down, making it plain, and then executing. You know, a lot of people don't follow. A lot of people don't stick to the script. You know, they don't, they good intentions, like 40 say, good intentions, but we never follow through. You gotta follow through, write it down, make it plain, make a weekly goal. I'm big on making weekly goals, monthly goals, where you want to be in the next year. These are the conversations that we gotta have with one another to say, okay, where do you see yourself at in the next 5 years? That's important. We 45.
So
We got to have those type of goals, and you got to be forward thinking, looking to the future, because a man without a plan is a man plans to fail.
and when you that's one of the things when you get to take there's classes in the penitentiary that can teach you that stuff. And one of the things they speak about is writing down your goals, 3 short terms, 3 long. And when you write those
Yes,
goals,
sir.
is you look at them every day and you write down
Yeah.
they're going to take for me to get there. And I think that's
Mm-hmm.
very important to keep people mind on the job because if they don't,
Keep
if
you
it's not
focused.
something that they can't see, they'll forget about
Yeah.
it. But you gotta write it down. It's work, and I promise you, if you got to do anything hard, overcome it, that will give you the most confidence of Warren Buffett because you see how hard you had to do to get this, and then you got it, and it's not gonna stop you from moving forward now. Just like your 2 steps back, 2 steps back, and you still end up getting to where you was. Now you're so confident. Now you got a podcast. Now you're doing this now because you got the confidence in yourself. And that
Right.
starts with
Right.
just writing it down. It's just as simple as just writing it down and trying to just complete the short term goal. And then that's still gonna blow up to even more and you're gonna have confidence.
That 100%. Look, man, before we wrap it up, man, you're a man of respect, man. I know you since a kid, man. How has respect served you well throughout life and with others?
Well, it's the respect for me comes with I tell people I'm gonna do something and I follow through.
That's
So
good.
that
Yeah.
type of respect is the best respect than being that guy on the streets trying to do this. When you say you're going to do something and you do it, and people see that's
Mm-hmm.
good character. That's good character.
Yeah.
That means you're standing on business. You was true to what you said. So he just been just people noticing that got out here and I worked hard to get where I was. And I only had this amount of support. And even though I failed right here, I went back over here and I got this and I didn't let it deter me from my thing. And when people recognize that and then they tell me that, that makes me feel good. That makes me try even harder to keep on doing that type of stuff. Because I need
Yes,
that
sir.
love. I need to know that I'm doing something right, even if I think I'm doing something right. When somebody else notice that you think of something right, man, it feels just a good feeling.
Mm-hmm. That's good. That's good. That's what's up, man. Well, look, DL, I appreciate you coming on, man. I ain't gonna hold you, man. I know you got things to do, man. Thanks for coming on to the show.
Yeah,
Respectfully, the
absolutely.
podcast, man. Y'all viewers, tap in, get in the comments, share your thoughts, what y'all think on the podcast on DL. Make sure y'all go follow him on his social media channels
Cut the
and his
cap.
new podcast, the Cut the Cap. All right, fam. I'll see you soon, my guy.
Love, man.
Love, bro. Be safe.